Hey gang, welcome to astronomy class. The advanced level astronomy class is going to be slightly delayed. I wanted to go a little bit more in depth about stars and about how we've studied stars and their broader connection to much deeper topics in astronomy. However, I think there are some more pressing matters. For those that don't know me, hello. My name is Eris. You can call me Professor Motorcycle. Or not. I don't really care. Here's what we're going to do. Today was meant to be the recording of astronomy class number 1, the advanced level, talking more in depth about stars, how interconnected the universe is, and how all of these pieces about the broader universe actually connect to our everyday life. There are some really cool things that I want to talk about, and I can't do it. Not yet. I want to do it, and I want to do it for free, and I want to continue educating people as long as I possibly can, because education is the best thing in the world, and it is not something that you can profit off of. I can't profit off of the knowledge that I have by just having it. But I can help people become more complete human beings and have a better perspective of the world and the universe and understand concepts that won't necessarily make you money but are really cool to learn about. And feeding that curiosity is something that I really want to do. And I can't do it because I need to make a plea. There are a couple things going on right now that are very, very rough. They're not fun. The people of Minneapolis are still under siege. Words from people on the ground there are calling it a war against the people of Minneapolis, and it is true. And it has not stopped. This is, if my camera will focus on it. There we go. This is, I need to twist it the right way. Yeah, there we go. You might recognize this as the symbol from Star Wars, the symbol of the rebellion. It's hard to tell on my really bad camera, but the state bird, the loon, the state bird of Minneapolis, is in the symbol of the rebellion. And the people of Minneapolis are calling it the rebelloon, which I think it's funny. I think it's cool. I think it's clever, and I think it's funny. I didn't know that symbol existed until I physically went to Minneapolis, and I was handed this pin by my friend who is staying there. The people of Minneapolis are calling it war. They're calling it civil war. I think it's more complex than that. And I think it runs deeper than that. You might be confused, concerned about what I have on the board behind me here. This video is, in fact, a plea to the conservative, the low-income MAGA, and the American centrist. If somehow this video is able to make it onto if you consider yourself any of these, if you consider yourself conservative, if you're a low-income MAGA person, even if you're not a low-income MAGA person, maybe you're just MAGA, or if you consider yourself a centrist, maybe you're like, hey, I actually abstain from politics, then this is a plea for you, and I would ask that you stay and watch. Maybe leave a comment, asking questions, or insulting me even. Totally fine to do that. I have a thick skin. I could take it. I am an educator, first and foremost. And no, I have not been brainwashed. No, I have not been succumbed to the woke virus. In fact, quite the opposite. Along my path of learning what it means to be a person, learning how to exist in society, working, going to school, working on my master's degree, after I got my undergraduate. I am a physicist. I am a scientist. I am someone that cares about fact and truth and support-based evidence. I care about facts. I also care about feelings, but they are separate from facts. Facts can make us feel feelings, and that is a fact. This is a hard thing to ask, and it's a very confusing thing to ask, and it's a confusing topic. So if you consider yourself one of these things, or if you consider yourself the opposite of any of these, then maybe stick around. This is a plea, because I think I've identified a couple problems. I think they're pretty easy to see, and I would love to talk about them from my perspective as an educator and as someone who's a community organizer, who has been to Minneapolis, who has gone and worked and volunteered at food drives, donated money, donated clothes, donated food, as someone who is getting more and more involved in my own community right here in Oakland, California, doing my best as anyone can to slowly get more and more involved and encourage other people to get more and more involved in their local community, because that's where change happens. I'm getting distracted. This happens quite frequently. I ask that you bear with me. I will refocus, and I will say the following. This is a plea to the conservative, the low-income MAGA, and the American centrist, and any else who will listen. Now is not the time for arguing with your family, with your children, with your neighbors, with your friends. Now is not the time to worry about semantics. Right now is a time to understand that the US of A has declared war, not just on Iran, not just in conjunction with Israel using American tax dollars, but in the first 2 months of 2026. It is currently the final day of February 28th, 2026. We have deposed 2, murdered one of them. We've deposed 2 leaders, one of Venezuela and one of Iran. I am by no means an expert in geopolitics. What I am an expert in is education and astronomy. And I will say this: everything that the United States of America is doing directly opposes education. And in doing so, means that I am unable to teach astronomy. Now, that may seem like a stretch, but I assure you, I have evidence. I have anecdotal evidence, and I have statistical evidence. The first statistic I will say is that multiple education departments across the country, including one here in Oakland, are facing massive layoffs. There was an Oakland Educators Union strike threatened, and instead of striking, they have reached currently, as of my current knowledge, a tentative agreement. Their demands for the teachers' union were not fully met, but they came close. However, the deficit that the education board and the groups that the local government of Oakland are facing was too much to bear. And in fact, they have laid off well over 400 people to try and make up the difference. The problem is the schools aren't getting any more funding. So in order to meet the deficit, they cannot ask for more funding because there's none left. It's all going to police. It's all going to flock surveillance cameras. It's all going to ICE. And it's all going to Israel. And now, the money that should have been for Oakland educators, for people like myself in the Oakland community, who, before this tentative teacher strike, I lost 2 separate jobs, one through NASA and one through a local science center. because of budget cuts. Because the money for these wars comes from education. It is the first place that they cut to fund weapons and everything else that they do. So the plea that I am pleading to you, is to refund education, defund war, get rid of the billions of dollars that local communities have to suffer so that we can invade Iran on a random Saturday, the last day of February in the second month of 2026. I think it's pretty clear that most people in this country don't want foreign wars. In fact, it was something that the sitting president ran on. And now we have more foreign wars. So for conservatives that didn't vote for this, but voted for Trump, to the low-income MAGA who your children no longer have extra field trips or science programs or band practice, whatever might be getting cut from your small local community, and the American centrists who don't want to get involved in politics, I assure you, you and your children will feel the effects of this war. You may not feel it right now. Maybe you live in an upper middle class area, one of the very few left in the United States. But it won't last. All of that money will dry up because those that are currently running the country do not care about their constituents or their voting base. I like my job as an educator. I love teaching. And I am unable to teach if all the money that is supposed to go to teachers and local communities is instead going to fund foreign war and kill and destroy foreign schools. My plea to the conservatives, the MAGA, and the centrists is that you express any sort of feeling you might have about that you don't like this. Start small. That's all I ask. I would just like you to express that you are angry that we have started another foreign war, that the threat of invading Venezuela that was gone in less than a month and has now shifted to Iran. I ask that you express, if you are upset, that you express that. Hopefully not with me, but maybe you express it in the comments and say, yes, I am upset with this. Or maybe you are feeling the economic effects. Maybe you're still mad about the price of eggs or the price of gas. Maybe you're not doing as well in your job. Maybe your service worker job and you are getting less tips. I don't know. Maybe your hours got cut recently. I understand. I do. I lost 2 teaching positions in the last year because of budget cuts, because there was no funding for the programs anymore. I was teaching an education program through NASA, and I was teaching an astronomy program through a science center. And both of them got cut because astronomy doesn't get funding. It doesn't turn heads unless it's flashy or has some kind of workforce skill attached to it. Physics, while extremely important and a core principle of many other sciences, does not get funding. It is very frustrating to be on the receiving end of budget cuts and job layoffs. And I see low income everyone be affected by this. So, my very genuine ask of all of these people and of everyone else, call your representative. Or maybe you don't even want to do that. Maybe you just go to your local city council and complain. Maybe you say, hey, why are the schools not getting funded? Why did this program get cut? Go to the PTA meeting. Find a politician or someone with a little bit of leeway, with a little bit of say, and complain to them. Say that you won't vote for them again. Vote for your friend. Vote for someone else. Please do something. Because right now, everyone that is not already at the very top, everyone that is not a tech billionaire or some rich corporation guy or any long-standing career politician, they don't really care as much about the things that you're going through. And they won't necessarily unless you tell them. There is a part 2 to this video. And it is to the non-conservative and the low-income MAGA. So if you all would like to stay here and hear the libs and the lefties get a little railed into, stick around. You might like that. So, for the rest of you, imagine for a moment you are one of these individuals. You liked what Trump was saying about draining the swamp in 2016. 2020, you wanted him back. Thought he was doing a good job for the country. And Biden came in and COVID hit. It was terrible. It was really, really terrible. And then you really didn't want Biden again, and you certainly weren't going to vote for Kamala. So you went with Trump again. You don't care about the personal stuff that he was doing or what kind of person he was. You cared about what he was saying, what he told you he was going to do. There were going to be no more foreign wars. Prices of eggs were going to go down. We were going to make sure that the streets were safe and clean. And now, you want to believe so badly that your life will become affordable. You want your life to be affordable. You're angry and you don't really understand why people on the left think you're the problem. You just want things to be cheaper and better. Don't we all want that? Come on, you guys are being crazy. And to an extent, yeah, we all do want it to be cheaper. Yeah, that's actually right. The problem is, all you people on the left, you're focused on transgenderism and communism and all these different things. Stop that. We just want gas and eggs to be cheaper. Enough. Stop shoving the rest of it down our throats. Now, after you've pictured this, and you see what's going on, this is what you voted for. I don't want to get blamed for this. I didn't vote for that. I voted for cheaper prices. I voted for better cost of living. I voted to keep my job at the coal factory, the coal mine, the power plant, whatever it is. And now, well, my job is still kind of getting cut. And we did roll back some of the protections for some of those other things, but my life hasn't gotten cheaper or more affordable yet. And part of you's holding out hope that maybe if you just wait a little bit longer, it'll work out. And now we just bombed Iran. And the only thing you're seeing are people on the left, on the internet, telling you that you're evil and horrible and a Nazi. That can't feel good. People on the left gotta have a little bit more empathy. People don't like being called Nazis. And I know what you're saying. But they are Nazis. Yeah, man. And the Nazis didn't think they were fascist either. They ran on a socialism platform. They ran on a social party. They were called the Nationalist Socialist Group. I think I said that a little bit wrong, but you get the picture. That's why it's Nazi. National Socialism. It was a social platform. And I know what you're saying. Can't they see everything that's going on? Can't they see what the right has done? Yes, they can. Because contrary to popular belief, they're not stupid. They're scared. I am of the opinion that people on the right are lonely. And I know I told the people here to stick around so that I could rail into the lefties a little bit, but I think it's true. I think people on the right are lonely. Now, I am not saying to coddle people that are on the right and to walk up to a stranger that is yelling slurs on the street and ask if they need a hug. That's stupid. What I am saying is that there is a right and a wrong way to go about bringing people back from the edge. If you see someone on the edge of the cliff and they're about to jump, or they're hanging off the edge of the cliff, it's not going to help if you say, "Why are you hanging off the cliff? What are you, stupid? Get back up here." No. You reach out an arm. You save them first. If someone is hanging off the edge of the cliff, you save them. And if they choose to smack your hand away, let them. They can deal with the consequences after that. But there are some people, even after they've been hanging on the cliff for so long, and they've been told so many times, "Why are you hanging? Stop, you're going to fall off the cliff. What are you doing? That's ridiculous." Or you put yourself there. You got to that spot on the edge of the cliff. This is going to be very hard to process for some of you people on the left. I know, because it has been hard for me to process. Those people on Twitter or Facebook, or that white woman that you see in the grocery store that's complaining about grocery prices to the cashier. I think 9 times out of 10, 99 out of 100, honestly, we're on the same team. They just don't know it yet, and neither do you. So it's very important that you treat them like they are on the same team as you. They might be trying to wave the banner of another team. It's gonna happen. It's been happening. We have to accept that. Two things can be true at once. It can be very frustrating to see people go and do and say all of these things when you think you know the right thing. And I am guilty of doing this. I have ostracized myself from many people in my life in the past because of this. But the number of people that control what we see in the media, control what we're able to do with our lives, control the conditions of our workplaces, it's a lot smaller than the rest of us. So when you see someone waving a MAGA flag around, your reaction, emotional at first, justified because you are angry about what that movement represents. It's like someone waving around a Confederate flag or someone waving around the Nazi flag. It makes sense. You have an emotional reaction to these very evocative things. But the people on the right are lonely. And it is not our job to make them feel not lonely. It's our job to create a space where we are preferable to the alternative. It is the job of people on the left to make a space that is better than the alternative. And I'll tell you what, the platform already exists. The platform is affordability. The platform is personal rights. The platform is privacy. We can also be anti-billionaire and pro-union and go through all of these other issues. And we can be pro-education. And we can understand that there is complexity to this. So while it is very easy to look at people on the right and get very angry and have a reaction and exist with emotions and have a reaction, an emotional reaction, it is far more productive to instead hear the things that they're complaining about and go, oh my God, yeah, shit's way too expensive. Are you kidding me? Yeah. We got this guy that me and my buddies have been trying to tell people about. He's running on super affordability, and we're gonna stop spending money on ridiculous stuff like drone companies and these like new AI startups, and we're going to stop sending money overseas because why are we as the community of Oakland, California sending money to a foreign nation? That's crazy. You don't even have to say what foreign nation it is. You don't even have to say what the AI startups are. They're Flock, by the way. The things that matter to us generally matter to everyone. We all want to feel connected to the people around us. We all want to feel safe, and we all need our basic needs met. The easier it is for all of these things to happen and for all of us to have our basic needs met, I'll tell you what, if we can run on that platform, then maybe we can get these people to come further our way instead of deciding to smack our hands away. I get it. The similarities between the MAGA elite and Nazi Germany is too high to count. The fact that we have started 2 foreign involvements in the past 2 months and have accelerated tensions in West Asia, in Israel and Palestine, and with Iran, I get it. It's really hard not to talk about all these things. I have videos on this channel talking about these very things. And as nice as it feels to look at something like that and go, you are like the Nazis, you're like slave catchers. Yeah, man, that's what ICE is. And they should feel bad for tearing families apart. But when you look at your conservative grandpa, that honestly might be a first-generation immigrant, calling grandpa a Nazi isn't gonna help, guys. Absolutely. Call ICE agents what they are. Slave catchers and Nazis. 100%. Call the Proud Boys and the KKK and all of the white supremacist groups what they are. They're white supremacists. They will proudly tell you that they are white supremacists. That's not who we're talking to. We're talking to low-income MAGA, usually working 1, maybe 2 jobs, ridiculous hours, probably construction, probably maybe a union job, but maybe they're not unionized. We're talking to American centrists blue collar to low white collar workers that are working just under 6 figures or right around 6 figures that have the ability to detach themselves from politics because, well, they're making enough. They don't necessarily need to worry about it. And we're talking to the conservative, not the extremist, not the KKK member, not the ICE agent, the conservative. The people that like Marco Rubio before he really got too into Trump, maybe. The people that voted for McCain over Obama. The people that liked Bush in the White House. The people that are old enough to not only remember 9/11, but the immediate response to 9/11. That's who we're talking to. So for those of you watching this video on either side, this is a plea. Complain about the things that matter to you. Complain about affordability. Complain about taxes. Complain about that AI data center that's replacing a bunch of jobs, or maybe you're a secretary and maybe your boss is forcing you to use AI. Tell your boss, hey, we don't want this AI thing. It's not helping. Complain about the small stuff. Talk to your coworkers. Have some kind of class solidarity. Because it's the only thing that we're going to have left. I want to teach astronomy above everything else. I need funding to do that. I'm working 2 jobs right now. I need funding to be able to do what I want to do and talk about what I want to talk about. And the reason I have made this video, and I appreciate if you've watched this long, hopefully if you've watched this far, like and subscribe, leave a comment. I would appreciate it. It is very important to me that people understand what it means to learn about science, what it means to learn about astronomy, how deep a concept and a subject astronomy truly is, how connected it is to physics, and how connected both of these things are to the broader world of education, of science education, of funding, of policy, of local communities. I'm going to quote a very wonderful creator. Education is elevation. I want to educate people. Shout out consciously. I want to educate people. I want to so badly teach astronomy and show people how connected the universe really is, and that any subject we talk about can basically be connected to any other topic you want. One exercise that I will do in the next class for the astronomy class, so you should definitely subscribe if you're interested in that, is disparate subjects that might have seemingly nothing to do with astronomy, how they're actually very connected, and how almost anything can connect to something else in astronomy. Whether it be Velcro, whether it be makeup, whether it be pens or pencils. All of these different things, any sort of random object, any random person you can think of. Astronomy has an impact. It's more present than we think. And the goal of learning astronomy is not to learn a workforce skill and bring it into the next job you have and say, yeah, actually, I learned about how stars work and that's going to make me a better employee. No. The goal of education and the goal of astronomy, and how I will be teaching astronomy and how I insist on teaching astronomy, is teaching people how to understand science and education and the depth that thinking scientifically can truly bring. Thanks for watching, and welcome to astronomy class. I'll see you next time.